Du hörst die nackte Wahrheit über Körperarbeit mit deinem Gastgeber Simon Heller. Antworten auf Fragen, die sonst niemand stellt.
Liebe Menschen, willkommen zu einem weiteren Podcast heute aus der Wohnung hier in Südafrika mit einer Freundin, die mich heute besucht und die ganz viel, ich bin mir sicher, ganz viel zu erzählen hat über Körperarbeit. Und der Podcast heute wird wieder auf Englisch sein, so falls Englisch für dich nicht so Tagesordnung ist, versuch dich einzutunen mit deinem Körper, versuch hineinzuspüren und gib dir eine Chance, trotzdem zu verstehen und zu spüren, um was es heute geht. So now I will switch to English, that you, Suskia, also understand what I'm saying. And my guest today lives between the mountains and the ocean outside of Cape Town. In a studio she shares with her own home. Sometimes you also work outside of your home, I know that. She calls herself a wild woman and a mystic. Suskia Strafella works in a field most people are a little afraid to say out loud. Classical Tantra, somatic bodywork, and the deep old work of the womb. She trained in anatomy, physiology, nutrition, Reiki, all the measurable stuff, and then walked straight into the unseen. She describes herself as a bridge between the two. In her sessions, touch becomes kind of a meditation, a way of tracking where we have gone numb, where we have been holding on for a lifetime. I wanted her on this show because she doesn't flinch. She talks about arousal, about shame, about the body's darker rooms, and she does it without turning any of it into a slogan. Today I want to ask her the things most interviewers leave out, about boundaries, about being a mirror for another person, about what this work really costs. Suskia, all the way from South Africa. So nice to have you here.
Oh, wow, thank you for that beautiful introduction. That was really beautiful. Yeah, already feeling emotional.
Right?
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
A lot coming up around just the whole, I guess, the way you see me.
Yeah, and maybe not just me, maybe also other people.
Thank you.
And that's just a little introduction.
Yeah.
There's so much more we will talk about in hopefully the next,
Yeah.
I don't know how long we will talk about it. Yeah.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, so I know you a little bit, but maybe people watching today and they don't know you. Who are you?
Yeah, it's always a big question for me. Who am I? Because this work is really about stripping away identity. So the more I enter the work of Tantra and my sexuality and especially the work of the womb, each time I bleed, I enter this realm of, who am I? But I think for the person that wants to understand perhaps the work that I do, the path that I'm currently on, I can share from that place. I can share the things that give me joy and the things that I've chosen to experience right now in this lifetime. So first and foremost, I would say that I'm an absolute ocean lover. I love the way you described, I live between the mountains and the ocean. It's so true. I live in one of the most beautiful places in the world, and I get to surf and free dive on my home break every single week.
Amazing.
And that's really my life. You know, I'm a city girl. I'm from Johannesburg and grew up there my whole life. And then I felt for a very long time a desire to move to the Cape but things just kept pulling me back into Joburg, and eventually I really had to make the move, and I did. I packed up my car, crossed the country, and what brought me here was the ocean. Even though it's incredibly cold, it was like this mother lover seductive energy of just come, come, come. I could feel it in my dreams, in my being, and that's what brought me here. Not a lot of people know that, but I came for the ocean. Had no friends here, had no working opportunities. It was very scary, very new. And so the ocean was the thing that really brought me into what I'm doing right now, which is walking the tantric path, walking the path of eroticism, walking the path of truth and freedom. And this is what I do. I studied with my teacher. The year I arrived, I met my teacher, Valentina. And I didn't know, there was no Tantra on her website. I didn't even know what the word Tantra meant. It was this, again, this attraction to her, to the way she spoke, the way she wrote. And I remember attending a 2-day non-residential retreat here in Cape Town. And after walking a path of studying yoga, meditation, anatomy, doing Vipassana, doing everything I could to work with my mind, the work of Tantra was the only thing that really penetrated and landed for me in a way of such love. And so this is what I do now. It was a path that I entered onto to work with my mind, not my sexuality. And it wasn't something I did to teach. It was for me, my own sanity. Many years later, the initiation started to happen, and life was also initiating me into the experience of becoming teacher and practitioner. And now I run this current of sharing this with people. And so between tantric sessions, intensives, cohorts, retreats, surfing, being in the mountains, reading a book, like that pretty much sums up my life. That's what I do.
Yeah, I still remember that moment when you were kind of living in a car, driving the garden route.
Yes.
It's kind of like when we met
a
few years ago.
Yeah.
And lots happened since then.
Yes.
Wow. I don't even know where to start, but let's see where we're going.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago. I met you and Kate on the garden route, and sometimes I think about that journey and how I wonder if that was to meet the both of you. I really feel that was what that was about, at least one of the things, the big things for me.
In a way, that brings me to the next question, because I said it in the introduction. You call yourself a wild woman. It's even your website.
Yes.
I will share it in the show notes. Where does this name come from? How does it happen to be the wild woman?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that ties beautifully into your first question, who am I? I wanted to say that, okay, wild woman, because if I identify with anything, it would be this experience of wild woman. It's not a label for me. It's an embodiment. And so where it began was I was on a really big tantric training, and a couple of the people that I was working with there started naming me wild woman. You're a wild woman. You're a wild woman. And it kind of
you know
stuck.
Why they started?
Yeah, because I was radical and edgy, and I wasn't afraid to speak what was coming up. I wasn't afraid to ask questions. And it was true. It was like when they spoke wild woman, it resonated so deeply for me. And then, so I took the name and I said, okay, I'm going to own this name. And that's when I would say the brand started arriving, was through Wild Woman. And then I started seeing this trend on social media that people were speaking about wild women a lot, but it seemed so, I don't know, it didn't seem like the embodiment of what I was experiencing. And for a while, I didn't really resonate with the name. And only recently I started to reclaim the name.
Yeah.
And this reclamation for me is coming from this place of a wild woman is a woman that lives beyond the boundaries of reality, the preconceived notions of what she should be like. Right? And women have gone through
What
so much.
society says
Yes.
she should be like.
How she should act, dress, speak.
What a woman is.
Represent herself. And this was moving through my blood a lot. Each time I bled, there was so much moving around. I can't be put in this box anymore. And so that breaking open is really what the wild woman is. And there's many names for it in Tantra, in tantric philosophy as well. And each of those names represents a different version of the wild woman. And they're not palatable at all to society. She's not palatable. And this rung true for me, is that I can see that sometimes when a wild woman can walk into a room, people become triggered. It invokes things in people that have been unresolved, unmet. The wild woman is one that will never swallow her truth. She'll speak in the face of possibly becoming rejected and shamed and demonized. But the wild woman is about love, and she wants to bring people back into love, and everything that's in the way of love, she eradicates that. So it's a big name for me. It's a big thing to identify with, and I think it's become really embodied in my being. I really feel this.
I have to admit something to you.
Yeah.
I felt many times I felt triggered by you. But recently, or not recently, it's a while ago when I started to see you also as not just a wild woman, also as a soft woman. And that kind of gave me the possibility to still feel triggered, but with love.
Yeah. And I wonder, those triggers, is it because of something I've said, or is it just I walk into the room, or like, what is the texture of that trigger?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a whole other podcast about it, but I think, or how it felt was like the truth is not always easy to hear. And you don't take, in German we say, you don't put a leaf in front of your mouth, you know, like for the Germans now, du nimmst kein Blatt vor den Mund, it's the same what I just said. You just say it, and boom, it hits me, you know. Yeah.
And in the beginning, that was messy. I remember times in the beginning when this truth was starting to arrive in my body, I would say it messily. You know, it would come out messy. And I would hurt people. It would hurt people. And so now I'm in a place where there's a maturity.
Yeah.
And I can feel that maturity, and I think it will always be something that continues to blossom and bloom.
Yeah.
But I remember in the beginning stages that, the delivery of truth wasn't very graceful. I think that's also a part of the initiation. But yeah, I really try to deliver truth in a way that is with so much love and grace. And even then, it can also be really difficult to receive. But I know within myself that there's no stepping on eggshells. There's no trying to make it all frilly and fluffy. Truth is delivered with truth. That's what it is. But it can be done with love.
Yeah. I just want to go back one more time before we dive deep with the ocean. You also trained in anatomy, physiology, nutrition, Reiki. I said it at the beginning, and then classical Kashmiri Tantra.
Yes.
Or classical Tantra, you know, like that's a huge span.
Yeah.
What made the mystical side click for you after all the clinical trainings or the more like standard training?
Yeah, if I remember back, I went into anatomy and physiology and nutritional therapy. It was actually natural medicine. And the desire to study that was because I wanted to know more about the body. Like, tell me about this body that I'm in. I always felt so loving of my body. It was always such an intimate place for me. And I always thought she was so beautiful and she had capacity to do wild, crazy things, you know, like wow. And I was always in awe of that. And so I tried to find things that could lead me into a more natural path. And I think a lot of this came from, I suffered from depression. I was diagnosed as depressed, and I remember going onto antidepressants from a very young age, at around 16 years old, strong antidepressants, and I was told by my doctor that I would never come off of them.
Wow.
I also had the Mirena, which is an intrauterine hormonal birth control. I was on sleeping pills. This is in high school.
So a bit everything. Like
Crazy.
calming down and then waking up because you calmed down.
Yeah.
And big mix of everything.
So yeah, and it was crazy. And when I left school, there was a pulse. There was this desire, this deep pulse in my being to come off of these pills because I could feel in some way that they were suppressing my happiness, my desire, my arousal.
Yeah,
Even though I didn't
know.
feel sad,
Yeah.
I didn't feel happy either.
Yeah, exactly. You're just
I was
here.
just numb.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, this is not my life.
Yeah.
And this is working corporate. I was quite high up in marketing and sales. I was working for really amazing companies, like Google startup kind of vibes. I was very much in the corporate, like Joburg scene.
Yeah, and maybe just to give a bit of content to the people who don't know about South Africa, we say always like Joburg is all about people and business.
Yeah.
And Cape Town is all about mountains, nature, and being in the ocean.
Yes.
So just to give a bit of content, what Suskia just said.
Yeah, Joburg's a very different lifestyle. And not much nature there. It's a city. So you go there to make money, to socialize. But for me, it became dry. And my soul, my spirit was really struggling. And I could feel this. I mean, I was young. I was probably 20, 21. And the desire was to feel, just to feel. I needed to feel emotion. And I started studying yoga. I started going to yoga classes. And this is a time in Joburg where yoga wasn't seen, it wasn't as mainstream as it is now. It was like you really had to search for the studios and do your research, where are the teachers. Meditation was also very kept quiet.
Yeah.
So I was kind of entering those practices, and to my family, this was wild. They were
What
like,
are you doing?
You're a hippie.
Yeah.
This is wild. What are you doing? This is crazy spirit stuff. And this is what led me into, through the yoga, I started feeling so much better. And then I remember going to my doctor and saying, I'm ready to come off these antidepressants.
What did he
And I
say?
thought it was going to be a fight. And he said, he looked at me, he did some evaluation, and he said, I think you're ready.
Wow.
Didn't question me. And we started reducing the medication. I came off of that. And then I started feeling my emotions again. And I started going deeper into the path. What got me onto the path really was I went to India in, I don't remember the year now, but I went to India for a yoga retreat on my own. I met this incredible man who was practicing Neo-Tantra. And we did a workshop together. And before that workshop, I remember going to just to have a 2-hour body massage. Little did I know that this man was a shaman. And he was incredible with working with energy, chakras, moving energy around. At that time, I had no idea about any of this, yet I could feel all of it. I remember being on the table, he was working through my body. I went through every wave of emotion possible: grief, rage, arousal, happiness, like all of this moving through my body as he was touching certain parts of me. So I had that And then I went to this Tantra workshop. These were all incredibly new things for me. And all of a sudden, I knew I had arrived at exactly the place where I wanted to be.
Wow.
While all that was happening, I was studying anatomy and I was studying natural medicine. And I really loved it. And I felt that this was a place for me to go more deeply into my body from a natural perspective, because I knew what medicines did to me. I knew they had a place, but it wasn't the all. I came from a corporate background, which felt very dry to me eventually. I didn't want to be there. I was making a lot of money, but still so unhappy. And then the school that I was studying through, it was an Irish school. They were shut down by the government because they weren't registered to be a natural medicine school. So that was a shock to me, and none of us really knew as students where else to go. And we got refunded everything.
Wow.
We had studied a year, so I had all of this knowledge around my physiology and anatomy. I was just about to go into the natural medicine, and they like took it away from us.
Wow.
And that was quite devastating. And I had just come back from India, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do now. So I started researching Tantra, shamanism. There was nothing on the internet, nothing around any of these things at that time, especially in Joburg. The closest thing I found to energy work was Reiki. And I found this woman who was teaching students how to become Reiki masters, and she had studied in Japan because that's where it's from. And I went into a particular stream called Jikiden Reiki, which is very powerful. And I studied with her for about half a year. They're not very long courses, but a 6-month course at that time was really extreme. And I just remember what it did for my body. You know, we have to, as part of our training, do self-Reiki. And also at that time, Reiki was not something heard of. It was very witchy and crazy, and my family didn't understand it. And this was my entry into working with the energy body.
Wow.
And I know that stream of Jikiden is still running through me, and that's what happens when I touch a body. It's not just the Tantra alone, that there's other streams that I've studied, other lineages that I hold through my work.
Yeah, that actually brings me to the next question, because so much of your work today happens through touch. And when you put your hands on someone for the first time in a session, what are you actually listening for?
There's so much that happens when I touch a body. And I mean, it's taken me years to get to this level where I can have a really intense day and I can come into session with someone and everything's gone. I'm just here with this person. The moment I touch the body, there is nothing else that exists but this other human and myself, this other reality and my reality dancing, coming together. What happens for me in my body when I touch a body is immediate regulation. It's like zoop, everything's aligning, everything. I think this comes from many hours, many hours, thousands of hours of devotional practice with my breath, my sounding, my own body, whether it's self-touch, self-tending, or like the yoga of touch, which is a tantric technique. And just cultivating this thread of what we call spanda in the tantric tradition. Spanda is the translation of the vibrationless vibration, the sacred quivering of reality. It's expressed as the essence of reality, and it's so quantum. It's so subtle that if you're busy, you'll miss it.
Yes.
So that's what the work is about, is that the moment I touch a body, I'm entering this quantum field of reality. at its essence. And that's what I'm listening for in a body. How awake are you? How alive is the body? And I can feel it in my fingers, I can feel it in my heart and my breath. And then we can guide the person from there. Okay, bring in the breath. There's something dense here. Use your voice to sound. Bring in some movement. There's something locked here. And I think it's, you know, a lot of it has to do with my training in anatomy as well. I know the body on a scientific level too, and I think that helps a lot. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's kind of like plugging yourself in to an, let's call it an energy field, because you're not going into the body physically, but it's kind of like you're going into the body. And yeah, wow. Yeah, some of your sessions happens in the nude. That's maybe different to what you did in the past with anatomy and physiology and Reiki. And so it's kind of like more the classical Tantra way. And so for someone who has never heard of this work, how do you build that space that is safe or stays clear in that moment?
Yeah, so very honest dialogue with the participants. They know beforehand that there's potential nudity in the space, and it's always an invitation.
Yeah.
It's never a, you have to be naked for me to do my work. No. Here's an invitation. Here's a menu. You can be naked, you can have your underwear on, you can have your clothing on, choose what you like.
Yeah, and very feel comfortable right now.
Yes, and so when they arrive in the space, it's quite sweet. People all arrive with their sarongs and their gowns and like their layers, and they're like, so what's okay for today? I'm like, my love, you choose.
Yeah.
What are you comfortable with? I've seen everything.
Yeah.
I can work with all your clothes on. I can touch your body, I can de-armor your body with layers upon layers. I don't actually need you to be naked.
Yeah.
The nudity is for you. It's not for me.
Yeah.
So I let people know this. I'm very honest with this. But the interesting thing that's happened in my past, which I wonder, just let me know if you don't want to speak into this, but what I found as a practitioner is that generally when it comes to men in particular that I've worked with, they've requested me to be naked in the sessions. And this is something that I think more practitioners need to speak about, right? That, and that's been an interesting boundary for me to draw. It's like, why do you require my nudity for you to be comfortable in yours?
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole topic in itself. And, you know, I'm a sexological bodyworker. And as a sexological bodyworker, I always wear clothes. There's not one sexological bodyworker on that planet that works naked. Because it's not about me. But some people see that as a, whatever you want to call it, power dynamic problem. But this person is coming because of something they want to work with. It's not about me. And I think you named it beautifully. Love, choose, it's your menu today. If you feel like I need to be naked, I'm not the person for you. You know, it's like this clear thing. And yeah, if it's more male or females, I don't know. I just feel sometimes they feel a disadvantage or exposed, you know. But I feel like it's beautiful that you say you can choose. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
that answers your question.
Most people do choose nudity.
Yeah.
They choose that because they can feel within themselves that, oh, this is an interesting edge to explore, or oh, I want to feel the freedom of that, or what comes up when I'm naked with someone I don't know. You know, I think nudity is, for me, it's such a normal thing. But I remember in the beginning that it was also edgy for me. I didn't have big things around my nudity, but I remember on one of my first tantric trainings that we were doing the tantra yoga, and I'd previously done it clothed, And now all of a sudden people who had done this before with my teacher obviously knew that there was an invitation to be nude in it. And I remember people just taking off their clothes, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, are we going to be naked in the yoga? And I remember when I did release my clothing and we were all nude in this big hall with this beautiful fireplace, there was just a whole different texture to that experience, the freedom that came with it. And I'd never not wanted to be naked again. I'll be the first person to be nude with you in a space. In nature, on trainings, it's just a different level of experience that I've had with myself. And I think, yeah, it's safe to say that people experience a similar thing in the sessions when they choose their nudity.
Yeah, I can completely agree with that, like when you take that layer off of clothing, the energy changes.
Yeah.
Because we all become raw.
So raw.
And
nothing
I also
to hide.
No, nothing to hide. Yeah, I mean, some people still try,
Yeah.
but you are very easily exposed, and it's very vulnerable. Yeah. It's such a vulnerable place to be, And on the other side, it's such a beautiful place to be. Yeah. What happens right now? I just see your eyes.
Yeah, I was thinking about how there's a tantric dance called the Taindava. And in the Taindava, we express unfolding the body, and in the folds of the body, that's where we hide all our vulnerabilities. And it's so easy to hold that in clothes, baggy clothes, put that away. But when we're naked and the folds are there, the cellulite, the stretch marks, all the things we may feel insecure about, especially as women.
Yeah.
Man, those first few times of being naked can feel so incredibly edgy, because now we're exposing the vulnerable aspects of body. And we say, yeah, we can try and hide them, but also not really, especially when we're faced with a practitioner who's really looking. It's like, and I'm that mirror. All they can see is their insecurity, their vulnerability, their pain, all they've been hiding. And I was just thinking about how the Taindava is this really beautiful expression of open the folds, open into the folds, expose them to reality, lean into life, let life just caress the insecurities away and touch and kiss the vulnerabilities.
Yeah, that gives me the image of, like, as a female or a male body, we both have this basket of things we are uncomfortable with, They're mostly not the same things, but we both have like this challenge as being naked with.
Yeah.
And being naked with other people kind of puts it in a perspective of like, oh, this person has the same problems, It's like suddenly it becomes more human. What I said before, it becomes more raw. Yeah. And you just mentioned a word before, what I want to dive in a bit more, because I read something interesting on your website. So you have written that clients might feel aroused and that you become their mirror. So how do you hold that moment, the arousal or the projection, without it tipping into something it shouldn't be in a session?
What shouldn't it be? Because this is an interesting one, in Tantra, all's welcome. So I've had some very interesting sessions with people, especially in the beginning, where that arousal did tip over into my arousal, and then it becomes really messy. And those are the beginning days where, yeah, I've definitely fucked up during sessions, for sure. How else do we learn?
Yeah.
But now I'm in a place where, yeah, people become aroused because they're waking up. They're feeling, they're accessing.
The energy kind of starts flowing in the body, and wow. Yeah.
Yeah, they're accessing their aliveness.
Yeah.
Maybe for the first time ever for some people. And when this happens, it's so beautiful, it's so overwhelming. It's like honey moving through the body. And for me now, the arousal is another movement of reality. It's another expression. To be honest, I think it's the most powerful expression, sexual energy, the most powerful primal force in the universe. And so I want it to move. And when a person becomes aroused, I think because I have such strong boundaries in place to guardian my own energy, I don't anymore get leaking of their arousal or projecting of their arousal onto me. I did for quite a while get quite a bit of projection of when someone was feeling aroused, they would almost want something from me. And what I would do in those times is, again, deliver the truth with love. Deliver the reflection with love. Like, it's not about me. This is what you're feeling. Let it in. We so quickly want to externalize our arousal. This is part of the work. How can I be with my arousal fully, with myself, for me? Just explore it. Yes, another practitioner may be here, touching, invoking, catalyzing. It's not about them. They're just the channel. For
They
that energy
started
to
it, or
move.
they created the
igniting.
flame. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I would say in the beginning times, middle times, there were a lot of experiences around that. Now, where I am with my work is very clear. It's, I've worked a lot with spiritual hygiene. This is a big piece for me. Working with protection spirits and ancestors and our lineages, my lineage of teachers, bringing them in every session, containing the space. Because when we're waking up sexual energy, when we're opening that portal, a lot of people don't understand what comes through there. This is the unseen. There's a lot of energy that we're working with that people are not seeing or even understanding.
Yeah, I mean, in the West, Tantra often gets shrunk down to the better sex or weekend workshops, like you know that,
Yeah.
You also voiced out the word neo-Tantra, But what gets lost in that, and does the misunderstanding ever make your own work harder to explain? You gave it a few words in the way of classical Tantra, Yeah. How many times do you have people come to you about, I want to have better sex?
A lot.
A lot. Yeah.
A lot. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm so okay with that. You can come to me for anything, an eating disorder, an addiction, disconnect, dissociation. I want better sex. I would just, I would just love to have an orgasm. Some people,
Yeah, I mean, it sounds so simple for many
Yeah.
people, but for other people, it's like this
yes,
thing.
it's this thing, right?
I don't have it,
Yeah. Tantra, traditional Tantra or classical Tantra is really it's this ancient teaching about the nature of reality. And we get to experience the nature of reality, our version, whatever that may be, through our bodies and senses. So what is your reality? What are you dealing with right now that you need guidance with? It could be anything, right? And I sort of see myself as a bridge between both. I'm an in-betweener. I've studied the traditional texts, and I accept neo-tantra. I love some of the practices that modern tantra offers. They're very necessary, and they help me also, because sometimes someone needs to work within the modern tantric realm to work with their sexuality or something that's moving in their eros to enter the traditional path. So I'm sort of an in-betweener. I don't hold myself on either end.
Yeah, you have also a big passion, and I said it in your introduction, about womb work. It's like womb steaming, conscious menstruation, what you experienced when you were young, that probably kind of got out of balance because of stuff you took to yourself, or you whatever you Some people dismiss this as esoteric, you know, like being so connected to bleeding, for example, you know. Even call it pseudoscience sometimes, you know, about, yeah, this is like not such a big thing. You have got the anatomy training. How do you answer that that critic honestly?
Sure. So if I'm met with such skepticism, I don't mind it because I know what I've experienced in my own body through my blood and my womb. And it's so embodied in me that if someone is really skeptical, it's okay. Because I know. It's a gnosis, not even just an understanding or trying to make people understand.
Yeah.
I'm here to guide you into that journey with yourself. So, yeah, I've been attacked online or received ridicule or whatever. I think we all have when we're in this field. We're treading very murky territory. And yet I keep coming back to my work that when I know it, when it's embodied, it will bring the people that desire to enter a similar realm within themselves.
Yeah, it's also a fascinating thing. I just went a little bit in my own journey, back in my own journey, you know, to would I have understood what you just said a few years ago? And if I'm honest to myself, I kind of got an idea about it, but not in that depth. What I have now, you know, it's kind of like when you have these haters or people are kind of like questioning you. Let's say it's simple, questioning you. We could go with other words. Maybe they just have not experienced it. You know, they don't even know what you talk about. Or on the other side, they are even scared of it.
This is what I was about to say. I think it's fear.
Yeah.
Especially when there's a lot of judgment and ridicule. It's definitely fear. I look at this and I'm like, okay, are you afraid to experience yourself so intimately? Because that's what the blood offers. Women don't bleed just because we're experiencing a loss of our egg, because we're sad that we're not pregnant. The body's not grieving a lack of pregnancy. That's not what it is. Every single month you have the opportunity to traverse realms, to travel down the line of your lineage of women and experience everything that's been locked there. The unspoken words, the prayers that have been sent down the line, the pain, the grief. We experience that each time I bleed. And when I had my Mirena removed and started bleeding naturally again, you know, that was the first time I really got to experience my natural bleed as a woman. I probably had, I don't know, I think it was a year of bleeding when I was 17 before I got put onto birth control. And when we're on hormonal birth control, we don't ovulate. And if we are bleeding, it's a withdrawal bleed. It's not a real bleed. It's like literally your body aching to bleed. And so my natural blood started arriving, but with that, because I was on the tantric path, I was doing the womb steaming, I was really regular and devoted to my practices, my body had opened so much that I could experience what was really happening through my blood. And this is why they call it the red thread. It's a thread through your blood, threading you to your mother, your grandmother, all the women before you, and everything that is in that line. And the reason why many bleeds are so painful is because there's so much in that lineage that has not been met. And we get to go and bleed and meet it. Bleeding is dark. We're entering the underworld. Right? It's the very much the underworld of being for a woman.
Wow, you just took me in a complete different world, honestly. I mean, I'm exposed with that with my wife a little bit, you know. She celebrates that too, her bleed and all the different seasons, you know. And I have to admit or say out loud that even as a male body, I could feel my seasons too, without visuals, you know, of having releasing blood or whatever. But at some point it made sense to me. I also have a cycle. It's probably not the same. I haven't honestly figured out what my cycle is exactly, but there are some days I also feel like, no, I don't want to do anything, you know. And you kind of like forced through that every month once, like this the cycle of, in the past it was connected to the moon, you know.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you're bringing this up now, because I'm sitting here bleeding, and I was contemplating last night that I was thinking about how much the relationship between my mother and I has changed, like in a way that I would never have imagined 10 years ago. The softening, the intimacy, the way we can speak to each other now, that is of such depth. She's so available to me, and I truly believe that it's through working with the blood down the ancestral line, going into some really dark, shadowy, painful things, that then start to shift things down the line. It's not just with me, my sister, my gran, my mom. It shifts everything, and maybe these women don't really know what's happening. Maybe they can feel it, maybe they're not conscious of it, I don't know. But what I can say is that there have been incredible shifts happening within my line because of womb work, and this is why I hold it so strongly. And to all the women out there that are not bleeding anymore, that maybe have had their wombs removed, that have problems with their vulvas or their cervixes, or, you know, it's okay. Because when I say womb, I'm working with the eternal. Womb as the eternal, this frequency that is held within a woman, that is never lost. And of course, working with the physical, it just allows us to enter it in a different way, but we don't really need the physical, actually. We can work within the energetic as well. I work with a lot of women that have lost their wombs and that then grieve these lack of tools.
Yeah, some even, I feel like they don't feel complete anymore. They don't feel like a woman anymore.
This is a big one,
Yeah, this is a huge topic, but we could probably fill a full other podcast. And I can just feel that wisdom that comes out, pours out of you, you know. So yeah, maybe we should meet again for another
round two
about the womb.
Let's do it.
But I want to go a little bit back to the tantric work you do and the sessions you do. So sometimes in intimate bodywork, the power balance is very delicate, you know, about facilitator, client. Have you ever had a client fall for you or want something from you that you couldn't give? And how did you handle it?
Juicy question.
Yeah.
I remember in the beginning days, I'm remembering now one particular client that did fall in love with me, and I fell in love with him, and the work opened up it catalyzed what was already there, and I would say it wasn't really, it wasn't a paid session, it was an exchange we were doing, and it definitely, it just invoked what was already existing within both of us. And it was an interesting relationship. It didn't last very long, but it also gave me a really good indication of, okay, I need to start guardianship of my energy. I needed to not boundary and lock myself away, but protect. Look after myself, look after the hygiene in the space, the energetic hygiene of the space, not leak my own shit into somebody else, not allow them to leak, like hold the boundary of mirror in a really elegant, strong way. So since doing that, the boundaries and the guardianship, I definitely had clients who have tried to overstep that boundary, and I've caught it. I guess in the beginning I didn't catch it on so strong.
They're very good in that.
They're so good, eh? Just getting in there
that,
and then this was part of my training as well, because I would let certain things happen and then go home and I'd be so angry with myself.
You judge yourself by it.
I would be angry with myself for allowing that hand to go there, or allowing this thing to be said without a reflection from me, or the eyes to look at me in a certain way, or the hungry hands to find their way to my body. And I was angry, and I needed to go through this to become strong as a teacher. I don't really think there's a lot of teachers out there that will go onto the path and just immediately know exactly what the fuck they're doing. I think it's a lot of self-learning. And this for me was a big piece. And then I started feeling into myself, okay, I'm angry with myself for allowing this to happen. What needs to be done in the sessions for me to feel not taken from by this work that I so lovingly want to share, but I feel taken from? Like, what's going on here? And I noticed there was still boundaries within myself that were left unexpressed, and that was incomplete. And that's why there was this like messiness in sessions. And once I saw that and started voicing to people, hey, this is not okay, you can put your hand down there, you don't need to touch my body, and started really voicing that with truth, I became stronger and stronger, and now it's just like a non-negotiable. Unless we're working with something really radical and deep and we both consent to it. I'm speaking into the body work now, Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for answering that question.
Yeah.
So bravely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you work with blood, tissue, the nervous system, you even used that word, the dark womb. What does this work cost you energetically and emotionally?
Sure.
Deep breath. Yeah.
Thank you for asking that question. Because it's cost me everything. I feel it deeply sometimes, where it's really overwhelming, where I feel so alone and so consumed by the things moving in the world and within our hearts, our bodies, our minds. I see it all. And I get met with a lot of judgment. When I'm moving through the world as open as I am, and someone rips off my poster from a board because they're perhaps conservative and want to censor, or my content gets removed from social media because you're not allowed to say these words, but I'm not sexually violating, I'm trying to heal and nourish. What this work has done for my mind has been incredible, for my own self-work and self-tending. But I've also noticed that when it's working with other energies and people, man, I got to be so careful with like not overstepping my own capacity and boundaries, because when I do, I can feel it, and it's there's many moments I've had in my career the last 10 years where I thought I'd broken my mind. Like, oh fuck, I went a bit too far there. And it's been, yeah, a big piece for me to really train my mind. This is a big part of the tantric work. We can't be tantric teachers if we haven't trained our mind. Big mind training. We have to train our minds because sexual energy is so explosive and big, and it can catalyze everything that's unresolved there to manifest through the body, through the world. And because of that mirror that I place in the world, I get that from people a lot. Conservative people, religious people, the judgment, the censorship. And yeah, it's something I haven't fully moved through yet, you know, to be censored. This is a big piece moving for me right now. It's taken a lot from me. I'm not really sure why yet, you know. Because I think about our teachers and what they had to endure to bring all of this from the very underground into the more mainstream, you know. They were the pioneers for that. I'm not.
You're also one.
I am in some way, but not
You're
on the
carrying
level that
the
they
work
were.
further, you know.
True, I guess, yeah. So yeah, I feel it. I feel the censorship very deeply at the moment. And I get confused because I see a lot of things online that I would experience as violating or explicit, and it confuses me. You know, I'm faced with this question at the moment of, I know censorship is there to protect, but when does it become so constricting that it actually causes harm? Gatekeeping is also a big one for me, like removing information so that no one else sees it. And so these are the things I'm working with at the moment, and they affect my mind.
Yeah. And through that, your body too, and your heart too.
For sure.
And, yeah. Because the mind is super strong,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm feeling into what else. Can you read the question again? I loved it so much.
Yeah, my question was, you work with all these different, whatever modalities, textures, and the actual question was, what does this work cost you? What's the cost of that work, you know? Being so brave, even as a woman, not want to putting that down, you know, but there's I feel like there's a certain quality to go out as a woman, being so strong, the wild woman, we talked about it, you know, to offer this work that is, in my opinion, and that I'm sure many people agree with that, so needed on that planet, and then putting other people put a lid on, or censor it, or remove it, or ripping it apart, you know, because of they don't know how to deal with that, you know. So what's the cost on you, you know, about this whole thing?
Yeah.
And you talked a little bit about energetically, you know, but also emotionally.
Yeah, I think as you're asking it again, I'm like, all these memories are coming and these visions, and yeah, it's exactly that. Still the piece around censorship, but I'm also remembering the earlier days of like my family not understanding, and friends that knew me before who I am now, like they didn't understand. And I think I was trying to understand what this all is and what this all means, and so there was a lot of confusion. And as I've grown and matured through the path, I've lost a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that's the toll that it takes.
I think it is, right? It's like there's such a shift in the being, in the mind, and systems collapse, relationships collapse. I mean, relationships within my own family collapsed. Just also this fear of not being understood, which is my wound, it's my piece. I do own this. You know, to be on this path, you have to look at yourself raw, stripped down. You have to look at yourself. I've had to really look at all the dark corners, all the places within my mind, my heart, my body that were not of truth. And so that cost is pretty intense, because while I'm learning and studying and practicing and integrating, I'm also teaching and sharing, and I had to learn how not to let that leak into my life as as a teacher, rather, to almost separate my own studies and my own learning from, okay, this is what I'm teaching. I can only teach what is fully integrated and embodied. And the tantric path is very different in the sense that we're not just going to university for 5 years and get the thing and now we're qualified to go teach. It's like your whole life, you're walking the path and learning about yourself, and that's how you hold the mirror. So when someone, for example, just takes my content down, it hurts because I've put everything into it. It is a personal journey, it's a personal story. And also it's not, you know, it's a bit of a paradox. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. It's so great to have you here and to share that and to get to know you even a little bit better, deeper, more raw. And I'm already coming to the last question. Yeah. So the last question for me is, or for you is, after all these years of holding this space for others, what does coming home to your own body feel like for you now on an ordinary day?
That's a beautiful way to end. I've noticed the last year I haven't been so in my tantric practice as what I used to be, because my life has now become the practice. And this is the point. We come into hours of body work and practice so that we can be more intimate with reality. So we can have this beautiful, so that we can recognize that everything is so erotic, right? Just drinking your coffee in the morning is a practice for me.
Oh, it's definitely my practice.
Right? Like that's coming home to my body, drinking a good cup of coffee that I made.
Yeah.
The whole process of it, then sitting down, like waking up with the day. That for me is a very sensual practice. And that's permeated into the way I am with the ocean, like rounding it off now and ending with the ocean. That's where we began. And I'm a surfer, and the way I am inside the water now with my board and with Mama Ocean, very different to when I began surfing. I think I'm at a level now where I'm surfing well. I'm not just struggling anymore. And there's something about that that is so erotic for me, and so, yeah, it's deeply intimate, and I can feel my body, like the way I'm moving, I'm so strong. My back, my shoulders, learning new techniques as well. You know, that's also such a thing for our neural pathways, is learning a sport like that at the age of 26 was a huge thing for me. And like 6 years later, being able to do the things that I really struggled with and doing them well because I have the technique and feeling that in my body, it's so sexy. Dancing, I do belly dancing, which is also pelvis, womb, hips, you know.
Yeah.
That's also a big practice for me. So my surfing, belly dancing, being in nature, that is how I come back to myself. The city is it's becoming quite overstimulating for me. Even though where I live is not really a city, but I can feel the changes coming. And for me, because my practice is at such a level, I'm able to now connect with the outside with deep presence and the same texture that I would have like in the Tantra, which is a tantric dance, one of my tantric practices, or the Tantra yoga. They've all been designed to take us into life more intimately. That's what they're there for. So now I feel like I'm in this era where I'm more outside. I want to be around my family, my friends, my community. There was a period where I was very much solitary and very devoted to my practices, and I was very internal, and that's kind of where I stayed for that evolution of my being. Now I can feel there's more of a curiosity, like what's happening out there, and when I get to meet those outside places, they bring me the same essence of what I get to experience when I'm in the practices. I'm feeling very, very absorbed in my body at the moment. I can feel the moment that I'm dissociating or taken outside of myself. And actually, a very intimate practice I'm experiencing at the moment is the one with my mind. Tantra is the one tradition that I know of that works with the mind as this erotic aspect. We're not trying to kill the mind or the ego. We're not trying to quieten the mind or transcend the mind. We're saying, okay, noticing the mind and the stories there, become curious and intimate with them, play with them. Like we have this wrestling with the mind practice, which is like a somatic practice of wrestling with a pillow, but you imagine it to be your mind. Very intimate and aggressive. And it brings us into the mind so deeply that I get to just relax into my body and myself and not let my mind wreak havoc on my system and my reality, because it can. I think it's safe to say most of us have experienced how much turmoil the mind, an untrained mind, can bring us. Yeah. So this is my practice at the moment, is I'm working deeply with my mind. It's so vata, it's so spacious and empty. It's so void, right? It's like we can't see it, yet because of it, everything exists. And I'm having a very, very intimate love affair with my mind at the moment, but not because it's delicious, but because I've suffered a lot through it. Caused my own suffering.
Wow. Kind of ties back where you started, the very beginning.
100%. Yeah, it's like another level now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It even feels like you become a little bit at peace with your mind after so many years. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
So great to have you here.
Thank you for having me. And I just want to commend you on such beautiful questions. You know, they deeply touched me. And through them I can see how you see me and the curiosity there. And I just feel really close to you right now through these questions. They're not like the usual, hey, what's Tantra?
Yeah, exactly,
So, like, let's go in, let's really dig in there, and I really appreciate that. It's really juicy.
Thank you for sharing all these juicy things about you, about your work, but also the other side of the dark, what you went through and how you are today. And for the next months, years, I wish you a lot of fun with your mind and of course with the ocean, the waves, and also with your work.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, my friend.
Ja, und also für you, falls du immer noch hier bist, ich hoffe, du konntest heute auch etwas mitnehmen aus diesem Podcast und lernen. Ich werde all die Informationen über Suskia unten in die Shownotes reinnehmen. Falls du mit ihr in Kontakt gehen möchtest, fühl dich frei und bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss. Thank you so much.